All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's your boy, Mr. Ray, heavy on the mystery. And today we're going to be talking about terms that every investor must know. In every field of language, doctors speak their language, lawyers speak their language, and money has its language too, okay? And here's the thing about language. The people that know get richer. The people who don't stay confused. Financial jargon is used to keep people, regular people, out of conversations that affect their money. Today we are going to break that down 10 terms, plain English, and Mr. Ray's going to give you a take on how each one of them affects real investing. If you've ever sat in a financial meeting and you nodded like you understood something, but you really didn't, this lesson is for you. Let's get it. Let's talk about why language matters. Let me tell you something about financial jargon. It was not created to help regular people understand money. It was created to keep regular people out of the money conversation. And it works because most people, they'll hear a term like a hedge or a dilution, and they'll pretty much check out. But not in this class. In this class, we're going to decode every term. We're going to translate into plain English. And then I'm going to do something that's going to separate Mr. Ray from every other financial educator that you're going to hear. We're going to show you how exactly those terms show up in the strategies that you're going to be learning. So point number one is you can't make a good decision about something if you don't understand. Most people don't know what they don't know, period. And I'm here to teach you. So these 10 terms are going to come up in every serious money conversation that you're going to have. After today, you're going to be affluent. Okay? Spectators watch their money disappear. Participants build on it. Let's go build it. All right, the first term you need to know and understand is liquidity. How liquid is your money? Okay? How fast can you get your money if you need it? That's the liquidity. So let's take your checking account. It's liquid. The money is there. You swipe your debit card and it pays for whatever you got. It's liquid. It's cash in hand is the most liquid thing you can have. Okay? Money in your savings account, that's liquid. Let's talk about something that's illiquid. Let's say your house. You can't call your mortgage company on Tuesday and say, I need 300,000 wired by Thursday. That's the value of my home. No, no, no. You got to sell the home. You got to list it. You got to show it, negotiate it, and you got to close the deal. By the time you get that cash, whatever you needed it for can be long gone. This is one of the advantages of the wheel strategy that most people overlook. When Mr. Ray sells a cash secured put on a stock, that position is liquid, baby. And if a trade needs to be exited for whatever reason, it can be done in seconds. That's the level of flexibility that real estate and other assets don't offer. Can you name an asset now that's liquid? Huh? How long will it take for you to turn it into cash? You got rings, you got clothes. Is it really liquid? If you can't turn it into cash quickly, then it's illiquid. All right, the second term I want to talk about is leverage. Leverage, this is one that sounds very exciting, and it is until it isn't. All right, let's say that you have $20, but you can also borrow $180, and now you can invest $200. So if your investment goes up by 10%, you made $20 on the original 20 investment. That's 100% return, and that sounds incredible. But let's say it goes down 10%. You lost $20. That's your entire investment gone. And you still owe the $180 that you borrowed. Leverage amplifies everything, gains and losses. Financial ads show you the upside, but they don't show you when your account gets wiped out. This is why I teach the wheel strategy as a cash secured strategy. When Mr. Ray sells cash secured puts, let's say on Apple, the cash to buy those shares is sitting in my account. There's no borrowed money, there's no margin. If the position moves against us, we manage it. We don't get blown away by a broker liquidating our account. Leverage is a tool, it's not a strategy. Learn the fundamentals first before you lose something, before you use something like leverage. Okay, let's talk about market cap. This is how investing world measures how big a company is. Here's the formula. Let's take the share price and multiply it times the total number of shares that exist. That's the market cap. Okay, that's what the market thinks the company is worth. So the important word is thinks. Market cap is not cash in the bank. Apple may have a trillion market cap, but only a fraction of that is in cash. The rest of the market is betting on future earnings, the brand, and the growth. So this is why companies can be worth billions of dollars without having billions of dollars. Belief is priced in. Market cap tells you what the category the company is in, okay? Large cap, they're 10 billion, mid cap, 2 to 10 billion, small cap, 2 billion. In Mr. Ray's Academy, we focus on large cap, established companies. Companies like Apple's, AMD, Microsoft. Why? Because they're the most predictable, they're more liquid, and they're less likely to go to zero. We don't want to own penny stocks when we're talking about the wheel strategy. All right, here's one of my favorites, cash flow, baby. Cash flow, this is a term that separates people who look wealthy from people who are actually wealthy. Let's say I want you to picture someone who owns a $500,000 house, they drive a $60,000 car, and they have $800 in their checking account. On paper, they look wealthy. On paper, they're doing well. But every month, 4,000 leaves for the mortgage, 700 for the car, 400 for the insurance, and the money coming in is 5,200. That's $100 worth of breathing room, one emergency, and they're done. That is the cash flow crisis dressed up as wealth. What matters is not what you own on paper, it's what flows in and out every month. Cash flow is the financial version of oxygen. Rich people account for cash flow, poor people count net worth. Okay? This is exactly why Mr. Ray targets 22,000 a month in premium income, not paper gains, not unrealized value, cash deposited real. Every week, premiums are collected. Every week, cash flows in. That's the goal. That's not a number on the statement, but that's money that actually moves into my account. Right, the next term is dilution. This is the one that surprises a lot of new investors. Let's say you own 100 shares of a company, and the company decides to issue 1 million in new shares to raise money. Did your 100 shares disappear? No. But the company now has far more shares outstanding, and your 100 shares that you own represent a smaller percentage of the whole company. Think of it like this: you own a slice, one slice of pizza on an 8 slice pizza. The restaurant cuts it into 16 pieces. Now your one slice is still your one slice, but it's half the size that it used to be. Companies dilute for different reasons, okay? Some do it to fund smart growth, others do it because they're running out of cash and they can't get along. The second kind is a red flag, okay? When you're evaluating a stock for the wheel, you want to look at the share issuance history. The company that constantly creates new shares is diluting its shareholders, which puts downward pressure on the stock price. You want companies that generate enough cash flow to fund their own growth. That's a sign of a strong business. You don't want a company that's being diluted. The next term we need to talk about is the dividend. Now, dividend is one of the most exciting and satisfying concepts in investing. Passive income from owning a piece of something. Okay, so here how it works. You own stock in a company, the company makes a profit, and instead of keeping all the money and investing back in the company decides to pay a portion of that profits out to you, the shareholders. So you get a check or a deposit per the shares that you own. Now, you didn't do anything that quarter, you just owned the shares. The business ran, the profits came in, and the portion showed up in your account. That's passive income, okay? Here's the beautiful thing about the wheel strategy. You don't have to wait for the company to declare a dividend. You create your own. When you sell a cash secured put, you get the premium collected immediately. That's your dividend, paid in the moment that the trade is made, whether it's weekly, monthly, on your schedule. You are the company declaring the payout. Think about that. That's how you create real wealth. Volatility. Oh, this is the one right here. This is the one that makes most investors nervous. Here at my academy, volatility is one of our best friends. Think about two stocks. One stock moves 5% a day on average. Stock B swings 5 to 10% either direction. Stock A is calm, low volatility. Stock B is a roller coaster, high volatility. For most investors, high volatility is scary. They don't want to deal with those type companies. They don't want a roller coaster. They want to, as an option seller, volatility is high opportunity. Here's why. When you sell cash secured puts, the buyer of the put is paying for protection. They're scared that the stock's going to drop, and so they're buying protection. When volatility is high, meaning the stock has been moving a lot, buyers are more scared and they pay more for that protection. That means when volatility spikes, like it does when the earnings season or when the market correction is up, option premiums goes up. That's when Mr. Ray looks for premium selling opportunity. High IV is not a threat, it's a payday if you know what you're doing. Implied volatility, or IV, is the market's prediction about future volatility. When IV is elevated, CSP premiums are elevated. This is why we watch IV on every trade. Let's talk about a hedge. This is one that's it gets misused in financial media. Okay, hedge funds. Hedge against what? Let's break it down. A hedge is simply a position you take to reduce the risk of another position. The classic example: if you own a lot of Apple stock and you're worried about it might drop 20% the next quarter, you'll buy a put option that profits if it goes down. Now, if Apple drops, your put option gains value, offsetting your losses. That's the hedge. Think of it like insurance on your house, okay? You pay a premium every month. You hope you never have to use it, but you're really glad it's there if the pipe busts, okay? In the wheel strategy, the covered call is your hedge. When you own shares and sell covered call, you collect the premium. If the stock drops, that premium cushions the blow. You don't get out, you get paid to wait it out. The premium acts as a hedge against the downside. This is why the wheel is considered a relatively conservative option strategy. You're not just selling the option naked. Every position has a built-in hedge. Think about that. All right, let's talk about yield. Now, yield might be the most important number in income investing, and most people don't know how to calculate it. So here's the formula. Take what an investment pays and divide it by what you paid for it. Let's say you have a $200,000 house and it generates $20,000 a year. The yield is 10%. That's simple, right? In the bond world, yield is the interest rate. In the dividend world, it's the annual dividend divided by the stock price. In the option world, it's the premium collected divided by the capital that was at risk. Okay? And what I love about yield is that it's honest. It doesn't care about what an asset might be worth someday. It measures what it pays right now. And for income investors, that's the only number that matters. Okay? So here's the math behind the wheel strategy. Okay? I target $22,000 a month in premium income. That doesn't happen by accident. It's the yield on capital. If you have $250,000 in an account and you're targeting 8 to 12% monthly yield, you're collecting $20,000 to $30,000 a month premium. That's the math. Yield drives the income. Dividend drives the yield. That's why building an account balance is not optional. That's the engine because you need the capital to produce the yield. And now let's talk about our last term, the MOAT. The MOAT, this is one of Warren Buffett's favorite concepts. He literally invented this term in the investing world. A MOAT is what protects the castle from the attack. In business, a MOAT is whatever makes the company hard to compete with. All right, it's competitive advantage. Apple has a MOAT. You buy an iPhone, you use iMessage, you buy apps from the App Store, your photos are on iCloud, your watch syncs with your iPhone. The switching cost is enormous. To leave Apple, you have to leave all of that. That's what a MOAT is. Coca-Cola has a MOAT. It has a brand. Recognition built over 100 years. You can't launch Coca-Cola, and take their shelf space. Patents create moats. Networks create moats. Scale creates moat. A company with no moat, today's leaders, tomorrow's losers. Disruption is brutal for an unprotected business. This is one of the most important criteria in selecting for your wheel strategy. Before selling a cash secured put, ask, does the company have a moat? Apple, yes. AMD, yes. Nvidia, yes. These companies have pricing power, they have customer loyalty, competitive advantages that protect their stock prices over time. A strong moat equals a stock that I'm comfortable owning if it's assigned to me. And in the wheel, being comfortable owning a stock, that's the whole point, baby. All right, let's recap. 10 terms. Let's run through each one of them real quick. Okay? We're going to do each one word definition. Liquidity, speed, leverage, amplifier, market cap, company size, cash flow, oxygen, dilution, smaller slice, dividend, profit share, volatility, price swing, hedge, protection, yield, income percentage, and moat, the competitive advantage. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick one of these terms. I want you to go find it in a real world this week. Open a brokerage account and look at the stock's dividend yield. Find a company's market cap on Google. Pull up the option chain and find what the IV is. Apply one term to real data and it's yours forever. Now, you need to speak the language. That's not a small thing. Most people go their whole lives without understanding these words. You just learned one of them in one session. Now let's go put it to work, baby. All right, if this lesson was valuable to you, I need you to subscribe, share it, and tag somebody who needs it on maybe YouTube or some of the other social media accounts. All right. Look forward to seeing you next time. All right, everything that you hear in this class is for educational purposes only. I need you to do your own research, consult licensed professional, and then act with confidence.